This morning, the partial government shutdown enters its 62nd day, with lawmakers still unable to reach a deal to reopen the Department of Homeland Security. With no end in sight, DHS workers are left to deal with the uncertainty on when they'll get their next paycheck. The agency has been without funding since February 14th after Democrats demanded reform to immigration enforcement operations. President Donald Trump signed an executive order aimed at restoring pay and easing airport security delays. Republican leaders are pushing for a reconciliation bill. This is something that the president says he wants on his desk by June 1st.